All right, you're all set to go.
Thank you. Okay, everyone. Well, welcome to the December 17th meeting of the Northborough Historic District Commission. My name is Bob Light, Chair. Just a few meeting announcements before we start. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, an act extending certain COVID-19 measures adapted during the state of emergency and signed into law on March 28th, 2025, this meeting will be conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance by members of the public will be permitted. The order allows the Historic District Commission to meet entirely remotely, so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. All members of the Historic District Commission are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. This meeting will not feature public comment. Each vote taken this evening will be conducted by roll call vote. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Tom Reardon.
Here.
Amanda.
Here.
Leslie.
Here.
Brian Smith. Brian Smith isn't here. Brian Swanson.
Here.
And Bob Light is here. Okay. So first on the agenda is we have some invited guests from the Northborough Historical Society to talk about their application for the windows renovation of the historic building, the Northborough Historical Society building. And I thought we would invite them because at this point, we've been asked to supply a letter of support to the CPC to go along with their application. So we have Paul DeRosier, Mike Duchesne, and Bob Van Buren. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to them for a very brief introduction. I can give you a screen if you need to show anything, and then we can do some question and answer.
No, I'll start. This is our second attempt to get funding for these windows. I was not involved in the first go around, but back in 22 for the 23 funding season, they had submitted requests for bids from 6 different businesses and only received 2 bids at that time. This time around, we requested bids from 3 different places, and we have only received 1 bid. The other 2 did not respond. And by the time we finally got the bids in, it was so late that we did not have a chance to go further. But apparently the last time one of the questions or one of the concerns was that we were talking about repairing and restoring the windows themselves, but the frame or the box or however you want to call it wasn't included, and that was a concern. So we've gone around and made sure that they're going to include fixing anything in the frame work that needs to be repaired or restored in the process of doing all the windows. We also went for all of the windows so that once it's done, we're done. We don't have to worry about it again. Tom had asked, he had a question on the storm windows, and I did bring up the detail for the windows that they quoted, and then went to look at the Historical Society building itself, and they look just like the storm windows that are on the bottom of the museum windows now. So I'm really not sure what the question was. So it's an awful lot of money. These guys are going to take out the windows, bring them to their shop, steam all the paint and the glazing off, repair any of the mullions that are damaged, replace any of the broken glass with new manufacture wavy glass so it looks the same as the glass that's being replaced. And the quote, yes, the breakdown was for $296,142 for the window restoration. We estimated $5,000 for broken glass. We know there's 48 panels that are broken now. We don't know how many they'll break when they replace or rebuild the windows. But we're hoping that covers it for a subtotal of 301,142, and we added a 10% contingency in case we find something that isn't covered. So we're going to put a grand total of 331,256, which is a whole crap load of money.
Now, I had sent out most of the application to all members of the commission.
Yep.
And I just wanted to point out, I also sent out a correction. So on your application on the first page, the number of windows was corrected
Okay.
to be in line with the quote from the company.
From Clary, yeah. Okay.
Right. So it was 23 double hung windows.
Yeah. And 15, yeah.
And 15 double hung storm windows.
Right. Yes. Sorry.
And the other point in the proposal is that you don't have heating on the second floor, which
Correct.
is where the museum is.
Correct.
And this would certainly go a long way to preserving as much heat as possible from at least heat that generates upstairs on
Right.
the first floor. You're going to have a much better insulation, better heat retention.
Right. There are quite a few broken panes as it is. They're all small breaks or cracks. We did have to replace one pane on the School Street side earlier this spring. We contacted 4 or 5 people to come and replace that one pane of glass. 2 or 3 people looked and they weren't interested. We did have one person come, but it cost us like $750 to replace one pane of glass up on the top sash on the second floor. We don't want to have to do too many more of them.
Now, your last proposal was in 2022, I believe.
Yep.
Was that ever submitted or did that get withdrawn?
That got submitted back then. It was from a different vendor, but the vendor that submitted that, and that was a much smaller number, that person never came out to physically look at the building or measure the windows. They just shot a price. Clary came out, they spent a good part of a day measuring and looking over all the windows. We did have a second company from Framingham that came out, and we spent almost a day with them measuring and going about what we needed. And then they just fell off the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So we have not heard any more from them. One of the guys on our committee physically went to their shop this past week, and they're all apologetic that they haven't gotten back to us, and they have some issues. They may still be in the running, but at this late date, I don't see it.
That was one of my questions. Obviously, there's a concern about having one.
Right.
The timing is that if this gets approved by the CPC and then approved at town meeting
Yep.
in April, then the funds would be available July 1st.
Correct.
I believe you had mentioned that the project could be done by the end of 2026.
Yes, they were shooting for it sometime in November to finish.
But if the amount is approved, which includes the quote plus 10% contingency, that does give you some time to look for an alternate bidder.
Right.
And I do believe that would be okay with CPC. Leslie, maybe you might want to comment about that. If a second bidder came in,
Yeah, I think that's fine. Yep.
a better plan, I don't think that the award would hold. but you'd be
Mhm.
allowed to go for another bidder either at a lower price or better quality.
Right.
Well, better quality for more money, no.
Yeah.
Not more money,
Yeah.
right, right. But with the 10% contingency, there is some,
Right. That's true, wiggle room in there.
okay, so that might be something that, in my mind, you should do.
Yeah.
If you know, take the time now to look for an alternate bidder, and see where it comes in, and then we can
Yeah.
then you can go back. Now, that could be concurrent with the decision by CPC and the town meeting,
Mhm.
but it could also be an amendment to the proposal.
Right. Okay.
So I would
We will-
recommend
We
that.
will continue that.
Okay. Any other questions or discussions?
Tom, what was your concern with the storms?
Hi, Paul.
Basically, these
Yep.
are just the storms on the bottom floor.
Correct. The 13 or 15 storms.
Right.
I was just looking at the double hung storm windows called Monray,
Yep.
and the head and the jambs, the top and the sides are 1.5 inches wide, and the sill is 2 inches. So looking at the existing storms, I'm not sure that we had that same equivalent dimension, because you have the outside wooden trim where the shutters are attached to. Then you have a small space of the frame, and then you have the actual sash themselves. But because these are, I mean, it's a national manufacturer for these storms, but I don't know how much flexibility they have if we don't have sufficient flat space to attach the frame of the storms. So this was one of my concerns, is that, the proposal didn't have your standard window schedule with dimensions. It didn't have any cross-section details through the jamb, the head, or the sill of the actual windows.
Mhm.
They didn't quantify the number of broken windows and give you a rate for repair. So if you have 48 now,
Mhm.
and they're covered in the bid, if in the transport and repair they break another 10, what's the rate?
It's
They're going to
$19 a square foot.
So all that information should be in the proposal to protect the town
Mhm.
and the Historic Society from, the process of being manipulated against, the costs. But yeah, and like Bob said, we're concerned that there's only one bid.
Right.
And I understand that the marketplace is not forgiving here.
Mhm.
And these skills are fast evaporating. So
I
there's
apologize, but go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Tom.
fewer and fewer qualified shops can do this work.
Right.
But I just want to make sure that whether you use this bidder or you get additional bidders, that it's thoroughly documented and defined to protect the Historic Society and the town in terms of their investment.
Okay.
That's good. That's a good point. So could you approach Cleary and get that amended?
So we want to amend it to include what, making sure the storms fit?
Well, yeah, there are no detailed drawings of the existing conditions. So we don't know how wide that space, that portion of the frame where the new storms would attach. It looks close, but again, with a dimension drawing of the actual windows, you'll know that for sure before, work commences.
Okay.
And you want a window schedule of all 23 windows and their sizes. And typically, even in a residential project where you're going to replace your windows, they're going to give you a window schedule. They're going to give you the views, the sizes, just properly documented proposal.
So since this building was late 1880s or so, there's
60.
no drawings or anything that we can use as a source for diagrammatic information, which would mean that we'd probably have to photograph all the windows and create new drawings from them.
Well, the window company would be doing that. That's part of their scope of work. It's standard practice.
I think if we approach with Cleary about this, that hopefully they'll say, yeah, that was understood, and maybe put it in writing.
Mhm.
Yeah, and like the warranty, there's a 10-year warranty on the storms in the proposal, but there's no called out warranty for the rest of the work. I'm assuming it's a year. But you want that in writing. And when they say they're going to use premium paint. Well, they should tell you what the manufacturer of the paint is. They should tell you what type of paint. It looks like they're going to use oil for the primer, but they don't tell you what they're using for the finish coat. Is it acrylic latex? What's the manufacturer? I'm just looking for more specifics to protect everyone involved.
Okay.
But that's standard practice. When you strip an existing window of that age, you want to use an oil-based primer and you want to use a quality latex finish. But they do call out the manufacturers for the weather stripping,
Yep.
the Restore Plus, and advanced repair technology. They've called out a lot of the technical components, but they're not getting specific about the paint.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Leslie, I ran on.
No, that's fine. I was looking on ChatGPT actually for window restrictions. So and they didn't even identify Cleary. So I put in Cleary and it says, yeah, Cleary is much more extensive, but there are few other vendors mentioned. If I just want to throw the names out just to see if you've heard of them. One is Raven Historic Window Restoration. They're Chestnut Hill, Newton area. D. Hayward Restoration in Western and Central Mass. New Outlook Historic Window Restoration in Swansea, and Good Window Works. Says works in Massachusetts, New Hampshire. I don't know if you've heard of any of these or if it would be helpful, but
Well, I have a list on the Preservation Massachusetts thing, and none of those do I see.
okay, all right. I just
Actually, Cleary had a pretty nice history of historic renovations. Paul, you mentioned that you had a possible second bidder that wasn't able to respond in time, but now could be.
Possible. We have to push them on it and see what's going to happen.
What was their name?
I don't have it, to be honest with you.
Okay.
They're out of Framingham, Mass. They're close.
Okay.
And as I say, after they came and spent time with us, they just they stopped responding to us. They didn't answer phone calls or emails or anything.
Mhm.
And one of the guys on the committee physically went to the building and got in and talked to him last week. Now, we haven't heard anything else since then. We were hoping to hear something before today, but
Okay.
I have not been there myself.
Yeah, I think it's a worthy effort. And also, when you get back to Cleary with some of the questions, Tom, I don't want to speak for you, but I assume you would be available if they had any specific questions about your concerns.
Sure. I think it would be great to get a few more bidders. I'd be happy to contact some architectural firms that I know work in the historic preservation area and get some recommendations from them. Yeah, like to see more bidders and more complete proposals.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you could pass that information along, Tom, we could make the contacts and go with that.
Yeah, if you need me to help make some contacts, I'd be happy
Sure.
to.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
But basically where we stand now is there are some concerns, and obviously, but there is time.
Mhm.
And if the process keeps going forward, if it gets through CPC and town meeting, then there'll be a certain budget and they'll give us some flexibility to make changes to the existing bid or possibly find a second second bidder that might be better.
Okay.
Yeah, we certainly are wholeheartedly supporting this, and it's long overdue, and we'd love to see these 160-year-old windows get restored.
Mm.
Good. All right. Well, thank you very much. Any other questions or discussion on this?
So the only question I have is, as part of our application, we need some sort of a letter from you folks saying that you give support. It's in the community support section of the application. And I know a lot of these issues that we've talked about so far are important, and we definitely want to follow up on that. But I guess I'm wondering, can we get the letter similar to the one we got 3 years ago, so that we can include that in our application? Because as I understand the schedule from CPC, they're planning on meeting shortly after the new year to go over the application, and if they have any other questions, I guess we'll be available. So that letter that we're looking for from you folks, we could forward it to them as part of that application, and at the same time period, try to track down some of the answers of these things and include that as well, probably, hopefully before their January meeting. I think the January meeting, if things go the way they've gone in the past, is just in-house only. So if we could get some of these.
What's the date of the January meeting?
I don't have a date. I know it's in January. I don't know early or late January. I think the last time was early January. For the
Well,
meeting.
let me tell you what's going to happen. The commission will have to vote on whether to supply a letter of support.
Mhm.
I actually already drafted a letter of support, contingent upon some of the discussions that we were going to have tonight. So we can still have time to edit the letter. The commission will then have to vote on whether to supply a letter of support. We're going to do that tonight. And if we vote to provide a letter of support, then we'll have it ready for you this week.
Yeah. Okay.
And what I'll do is I'll send it to, I think I would probably address it to Ken Bennett.
Yeah.
And I'll copy all of you, and I'll copy the chair of CPC and oh, hi, Millie. And we'll copy I guess Lori Connors. And so anyway, but we have to do this in a formal way.
Yep. Okay.
So that's where we stand right now. So the January meeting won't be a problem. It could be ready today if we so elect to do so.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
You're all set with
Thank you.
us?
Okay.
So can I just ask one more question, just from a procedural perspective?
Yes.
We talked a lot about technical issues here about, getting cut sheets and specifications for windows and whatnot, and getting a third or fourth bidder and tracking down some other vendors as well. I'm thinking in terms of timing. If a lot of that stuff doesn't get flipped around in time for the January meeting, I'm trying to put in my own mind, does that eliminate the letter from you folks, or is the letter, we would send the letter and then send the other stuff as we go, or how would you
In
see
my
that?
mind, the letter will be, if approved, the importance of the project, the importance of the building to the community, the importance of the historical society to the town, and also that we had a meeting and we discussed certain issues and made recommendations, architectural recommendations, and that'll be it. So
Okay.
now, if all that doesn't get done by January, at least you could tell the CPC that you're working on it.
Mm.
So I don't see that as being
Yeah, I'm just thinking, it's going to be difficult to get vendors interested at Christmas time, because they're not pretty interested in the middle of the summer. Some of them, at least in our experience.
Well-
Christmas makes it even harder.
as far as I'm concerned, the funding isn't available till July. And
Okay.
if you had a better offer before July, I don't think anyone's going to object to you changing vendors
Yeah.
if that came up. Again, that CPC may have an issue with that. I don't believe they would.
Okay.
Okay.
You
All
know,
right, thanks.
because I think it's understood that when you put in, you have bids and you put in a vendor, and if something changes, as long as you stay within your budget, work gets done, I don't think anyone would object.
Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud maybe a little here, because our experience has been getting contractors to show up and do the due diligence, for a job that they may or may not get, is not a big draw for them. And given the time frame and also the holidays in the middle of it all, I can't imagine that we'll be able to get a whole lot of interest, and more importantly, a quote from a vendor that perhaps may be interested. But so I'm just trying to separate I guess what I'm trying to do is separate the letter from you guys to what we've talked about as far as getting new vendors and changing whatnot. Quote from Cleary. If that's going to be a deal breaker as far as getting your letter, I guess that's
No,
what I'm
it's-
sense.
The way I've drafted the letter is it would be that we made recommendations,
Okay.
and we support the project, but we made recommendations.
Okay.
So I don't see that as being an issue, even if it doesn't get done by the January meeting.
Mhm.
And even if you didn't find it, let's say you simply don't find another vendor, or you find another vendor that's not as good as Cleary. So you still have Cleary,
Mm.
and you're going to have the budget.
Yeah.
Tom made some very important recommendations for Cleary to clarify, and that certainly can be done before. They're not going to get a purchase order until July anyway.
Correct.
That can be done before then.
No.
And if something horrible would have happened where they either backed out, or they said they couldn't meet it, or then you give the money back.
But if you do get your funding, that will help attract bidders.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's in your favor if you go through this process and get the approvals.
Okie dokie. Fair enough.
Alrighty.
Thanks.
So
Thank
thank
you.
you very much
Thank you.
for joining us, and good luck in your project.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, good. All right, so now the next part of the agenda is that we'll go through the discussion about what we just had. So if I could start, there's some problems with the proposal. I think we made some good input. Made some very valuable suggestions, and I do like the idea of they didn't have enough time to get two bidders with the deadline, but now they do have some extra time, and maybe something better will come along. So one of the things is I've drafted a letter. If we vote to support the project, we can work out the wording to indicate that we've had a meeting today. I think it's important that we're showing due diligence to help them to make a better application, and also to help them manage the project. And I think that will go a long way towards having them succeed in the application. So that's the one point. Now, if we did not support this, chances are they're not going to get the application. It's going to put them off another year. They have another year to submit a proposal back in October 31st, and they wouldn't be get funded until 2027. So obviously, and it is a needed project, and it's a very important building to the town. So that's my 2 cents. Now, before we vote, if you would like to see my draft letter, which I sent you, I believe. I don't know if anyone had any comments about that, but I could put it up on the screen. Okay. Let's see if I can make it bigger here. All right, if it's big enough. So, basically, the first paragraph is we support the CPA funding application, windows restoration. This restoration project is needed for historic Northborough buildings and to support the valuable work of this Historical Society. Now, the next paragraph is basically what I was anticipating we discussed today. The Historic District Commission invited members of the Historical Society to present an overview of the proposed project. The commission made several suggestions in managing the project, which we did, with the contractor and provide guidance on architectural issues. After presentation and discussions, the commission voted to provide this letter of support. Now, I could make a note in here that one of the suggestions was to take the time before the award of the contract to get a second bidder or a third. So I could add that. I think that's an important point. Okay. And then the rest is boilerplate. The project is vital to restoration of the iconic building at 52 Main Street, is consistent with the CPA funding requirement for historic projects. Historic Society building is the only Northborough building on the National Register of Historic Places. I found that's kind of an interesting point. Built in 1860s, the former Baptist church is listed on the Massachusetts Cultural Resource Information System and is now the Northborough Historical Society Archives Building and Historic Museum. The Northborough Historical Society is a nonprofit organization that provides valuable historic and cultural services to the town. Besides the NHS meetings and history presentation, the building provides meeting space to numerous town organizations. It is estimated that over 4,500 Northborough and area residents use the building annually. The NHS Archives is a valuable community resource used extensively by the Historic District Commission and other town departments and committees. Currently, members of the NHS, Historic District Commission, Cultural Council, and Community Affairs established the Northborough Revolution 250 Committee to commemorate blah, blah, blah. And the Northborough Historic District Commission is pleased to support this important historic project and preservation project.
Bob, I would just add, and local, so it's town and local organizations, like they do, was it Sierra Club? There were some other ones that were not town organizations.
Yes, I think, I think they mentioned that too. 4,500, it said Northborough and area residents.
Right, no, but when you say above, where is it? The third line. Besides Northborough meetings, the building provides meeting space to numerous town, I would say town and other local organizations or something like that.
Okay, right.
Okay, yep. Except you want to get rid of, now you've got organizations twice, so just get rid of the organizations after town.
Good point. Okay,
Magic.
right. So any other changes, you can drop me a line. You all have a copy of this roughly. I would probably edit to make some point that we recommended that in the time before the award that they seek alternate bidders with the extra time that they have, something along those lines. So
Yeah.
I'll try to come up with some wording for that. So that leaves us to the point of a vote, I think, unless there's any other discussions.
Tom had pointed out that some additional specifications would be from the bidder.
Yes.
I don't know.
So
The
in the
commission made
second
several
paragraph,
suggestions
yeah.
in managing the project with the contractor and provided guidance on architectural issues. So what would you suggest? Something like,
Well, you want to improve the specifications and in clarity of the proposals. We're really not talking about managing the project. We're really trying to get a contract document that more accurately represents the scope of work. You know, we talked about the warranties, we talked about the paint, we talked about, you know, more detail, more specifications. Because typically the window schedule, the detail drawings are done prior to the bidding. So this process is kind of a little unorthodox in that you got things out of order. You got a bid, but you don't have all the specifics that the bid is based on. It's like Millie getting a price for her building before she does the design.
That would never
Which
happen.
isn't often done, is it?
Uh,
But yeah, you know, make some changes. Bob, send it back out and I'll mark it up. I'll redline it.
good. Okay, I'll send it to everyone.
Yep.
Now, so let me work on this. All right, so now, any other, again, my feeling is when we vote is that it's an important project, has flaws, but it's an important project. And I think with our input in that we've provided and also in helping manage the project and maybe getting a second bidder, I think it's a worthwhile project. There's very little downside if the project, if the vendor doesn't meet our requirements, then we can move on. Oh, excuse me.
The letter's gonna change after tonight's meeting. Can we vote on it tonight? I don't think so, if we don't have the content nailed down.
I actually, I believe we can vote on it because you basically see the letter, there's gonna be some modifications, which I think we can just edit. They're minor modifications. The point is that we're gonna provide a letter of support. So I think if individually, if you each get back to me with any changes that are not, you know, they're not out of what we discussed, then I think it would be okay to vote on the letter, providing a letter of support. Otherwise, we have to wait till the end of January.
I will take a stab at a motion. I
Okay,
move that we approve the letter in support of the Northborough Historical Society CPA application for window restoration and preservation of the Northborough Historical Society building. There will be some amendments that will be have been reviewed during this meeting, but will be added.
to the final.
okay, second.
I second.
Okay, so let me get, we don't need this anymore, right? Okay, Leslie Harrison,
Yes,
Brian Swanson,
Yes.
Tom Reardon,
Yes.
Amanda,
Yes.
and Millie Milton,
Yes,
and I vote yes. So the vote is unanimous. I will get you something this week, hopefully by tomorrow. I mean, there's just a few minor, one or two sentences to add. That's about it. And then
Tom said he wanted to redline it as well, so,
I'm going to send it to everyone.
okay, great.
Okay, well, thank you all. So we're going to probably have to skip over some of the things on the agenda, but let's go through some of the other important points. Approval of prior meeting minutes. You've all seen those prepared by Brian Swanson. Are there any changes? I didn't see any before. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from, oh boy,
November 19th.
November 19th? Thank you.
Got my calendar.
Motion
So moved.
Motion to approve.
and second.
Second,
Okay. Leslie Harrison,
yes.
Brian Swanson,
Yes.
Amanda,
Yes.
Millie,
Yes.
Tom Reardon,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So the minutes are approved unanimously. Thank you. Okay, the old business CPA project status, Howard Street National Register update. I sent Lisa Mouseoff another letter telling her that try to get back into it in January. I haven't heard from her yet. I did some checking of the files, and apparently it was a $3,000 CPA funded project, of which she's been paid $1,500. So we still owe her $1,500 on completion. So we're kind of in a bind. I'll keep trying to rattle her cage about that. It's taking much too long. Okay, the Brigham Street burial ground. So it turns out that I checked with Scott Charpentier about the plaque, and he got back to me and mentioned that there's actually more money than I thought left. There's $1,500 still left in the project,
Oh, wow.
and the plaque is $400. So he was suggesting, and just as a suggestion, that maybe we do a more extensive historic sign or plaque. Then there's also, we're going to be discussing the other idea about landscaping, the maze types. So one of my thoughts was that if we kept the project as is, where we just do a $400 plaque, because we have so many signs there already. Do we really need another big sign is one of the questions, but I wanted to open that up to you. And then either we could end the project with about $1,100 left, or we could possibly put that $1,100 towards the maze. I'm not sure what the maze would cost, or even planting a couple trees. Let me just show you a couple things here. Okay, so this is basically what it looks like now. So we have the sign here. We have that historic marker, which has a lot of details. And then we have the stone. And then Scott is proposing maybe some sort of another signpost here.
Oh, that's the poster. That's a nice photo with all the posts in.
Yeah, that's the post. And
Yeah. Nice.
originally we had requested that they have that one plaque that acknowledged the number of graves to the west of this line of markers.
Mm.
And we do have extra money if we wanted to make a bigger sign. So that's one option. Let me just. All right, so this is where all the buried ground information is. And then this is the stone. Okay, so that's the information that lists all the known graves.
This is a really nice sign.
Right. And this is the post. So this is where our small plaque would go. So opening it up, we can lead into our next discussion about what Tom has done with the proposal for the maze. So if we, so we're not going to be able to make a decision tonight, but I would want to get back to Scott about this. So we could, if there's $1,500 left, that's probably not enough for us to get one of our normal historic signs. Those are typically $4,000 or $5,000. So I'm almost leaning towards keeping it as is at the $400, and then we'll have a little bit left over for maybe a tree or for, depending on what the maze costs.
Hmm.
Do you have like a mock-up of, when you say small, how big are we talking?
Um,
Is there a
It-
mock-up of it or text or like would it?
yeah, I do. Hang on a second.
And I assume it would overhang. It's not going to be the width of the post, right? So it's going to be wider.
A little bit, yeah. I don't have it in front of me right now,
Okay. All right.
but when we talked about the wording, it's I think it's pretty close to the width of the post.
Okay.
I think it's 7 by 7, I believe. Or it might be a slight overhang. Just a thought, but I wanted to throw it out because I thought that the project would be done once they put the plaque up there, but I didn't realize that there was that much money left over. Because I thought that the posts were going to eat up all the money.
Hmm.
I'm so glad DPW did that instead of us.
Yes.
My God.
Okay. So next, I don't know if you want to, at this point, before we decide on what to tell Scott, maybe we want to talk about the
Library.
plan for the, am I still sharing my screen?
No.
I'm not. Okay, hang on. Okay, I'm sorry about that. 1 second. Okay. Tom, this is yours now. So you want to discuss this?
Sure. So Leslie had made a suggestion that we might add something to the right side of the burial grounds. And she had talked about a maze or a labyrinth. I got a copy of the survey done by Jarvis, which is this drawing here. And it's at 1 inch equals 50 feet. And I superimposed a classic labyrinth, which is based on the one at Chartres Cathedral in France. And then I put some like arborvitae plantings around it to create like an outdoor room or give it a sense of place. I don't know whether Leslie is bought into this, but I'm just trying to get a sense of scale and location, materials. There is a long tradition of having sacred groves, sacred spaces involving nature, like in the ancient Greeks, it was temenos. Certainly the Celts had many outdoor spaces, like you're familiar with Stonehenge and so forth. And the Nipmuc Indians, they revered nature. They viewed the forest as a relative. The land was part of the family. And so that type of quiet, walking, meditative space, I think, is appropriate. I'm just not sure what the committee is interested in doing there. This labyrinth is 40 feet in diameter with a 5-foot walkway around it. And then it's oriented to the cardinal axis, so you can enter north, south, east, or west. But if you go into it, you can walk it as a quiet space, and it's separated from, the open field and the forested area around it. So it's an attempt to begin a discussion about what you want to do there. I did another drawing at a larger scale. I don't know if that's helpful, but this gives you a sense of context and size. I lined it up with that burial sign that delineates who's there, coming up off of Brigham Street. And I also lined it up with the largest tree over in the grove where the burials are. So I just try to give it a place in space, so to speak.
I love it. I appreciate you taking a stab at it. My problem is I'm not a great creative person. I'm good at seeing something and knowing what I think of it, but was hoping maybe that the landscape architects would actually be able to make some suggestions too. We want to do something that's low maintenance, and this is our space. And so I don't know if they're going to get, Tom, do you have a sense for whether they're going to give us that kind of guidance, or we just need to say, this is what we want, how much is it going to cost?
Well, they can give you feedback of, say, if you want to do something out of brick or bluestone or low maintenance, they could give you feedback about that, but they're not going to design it.
Okay.
So I didn't talk to landscape architects. I just talked to contractors.
Oh, okay.
You know,
All right.
they could tell you what arborvitae's cost. They could tell you what the labor might be to lay something out, but somehow you have to come up with a design to which they can base the numbers on, the budgeting on.
One quick, I love the idea of sort of creating a separate space with the arborvitae, but I think arborvitae are really deer attractants.
You can get deer repellent arborvitae.
Oh, you can? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, I talked to Kevin Jarvis, who did this survey. He said this is not an engineered drawing. There's no contours. The edge of the forest or the trees line is not identified. So he said this is not the appropriate drawing on which to base a design. So that's caution. We don't have a base drawing that anybody could work from that has sufficient information, to base a design and get pricing.
So why contractors and not like a landscape architect to get more guidance?
Well, typically the contractors don't do the design.
Right.
Somebody-
But why not go to a landscape architect who does that kind of thing?
You would have to hire someone, yes.
Okay.
And this is something that people walk through, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, there are
And-
many patterns that are available out there. I just used the one from Chartres because I've walked it. I know the scale. It's very well known. It's a classic design, but you're not wedded to this particular layout, but it does slow you down and make you become meditative and quiet. And I think that's one of the goals of having this type of space in a cemetery.
Definitely.
Does look good.
Yeah.
I kind of suspect it's going to be more than $1,100 though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the site survey would cost that.
Yeah, I
Well-
think with the $1,100, maybe we should go for the trees or some of the other stuff that we had talked about, and this is a longer term project would be my take on it.
One thing Scott had mentioned was he was generously offering some support if we decided if it was whatever we picked was more than $1,500, he could put in a few $100s. And of course we have a budget for putting in a few $100s, but that's obviously not enough for anything more extensive. He was thinking more in lines of a larger sign.
But you could put money towards creating a arborvitae space with the interior pattern of the labyrinth to be determined later.
I mean,
Would
I
we
think
want to
that
have the
would be my
construction be
thought.
done? Would it block the construction equipment from getting in there?
Well, you don't have to plant it all. I mean, you could leave, I show like a 6 or 8 foot wide openings between the arborvitae.
Oh, okay.
But even before you planted or did anything with arborvitae, would you not want a landscape architect design on this? Yeah, so
Definitely.
that's really step one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was a person, Diane, I'm blanking on her last name, but she was a landscape architect that donated her time for free to the town common. And I don't remember her name, but I could find it quickly enough, and I'm sure Amy Pretsky remembers. So I wonder if she would be an appropriate person to ask to say, hey, would you be willing to?
Yep.
I think she was on the design review too.
Oh, was she?
Is that a different one? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I could be wrong.
So I'm not a landscape architect. Oh,
Mhm.
this is not my specialty.
Well, I appreciate you taking
Yeah.
a stab at it, certainly. It's a great start.
Yeah. And would you guys say that that type of space is consistent with, I think you mentioned this, Tom, what would be typical in a like a Native American type of sacred space?
Well, it's a very different tradition. The Indians wouldn't be constructing a walking meditative space surrounded by plants. I mean, they viewed all of nature as a cathedral.
Mm,
So that's, but it's in the spirit of that respectful tradition. In, I think it's appropriate to have a place to go in a cemetery that you can be quiet and thoughtful about, the early settlers as well as the Nipmucs who probably were here for 10, 12,000 years before the British arrived. So it seems in keeping.
yeah, I mean, and the only reason I ask is because, not to skip too far ahead, but looking at the different grants and funding programs that I've been sort of delving into, there are applications where archaeological, traditional, cultural, and Native American histories can be partially funded, or you can get grants for those.
Mhm.
Oh, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, so I'm trying to weave in different things that we might be looking to do. I hope to give an overview of some of the grants and funds, but at some point, just trying to weave in some of the things we're looking to do and see if there's monies available.
That would be great.
Well, there are-
So Diane Smith, and she works for Trillium.
Okay. There
Oh.
is a Nipmuc tribal group in Grafton. I think there's also some in Upton or Hopkinton, but if you want to go in that direction, you could certainly reach out to the tribes to see if there was anything input they would want.
Yeah, I think I will do that then.
Okay, so we can get more information maybe for the next meeting.
Yeah.
So while traditional Native American labyrinth designs aren't common, Massachusetts has modern labyrinths for reflection, including Rita's Labyrinth in Holliston, which honors the indigenous Nipmuc land, and others in public spaces like Chatham and Greenfield.
Okay.
True Native American ceremonial stone structures like niches for offerings and petroglyphs exist, but they differ from the walking labyrinths often found today. So yeah, there are a couple of examples. I don't see the.
Can you send that to me, Leslie?
Yeah, it's just a Google search that I'm doing.
The whole
Multitasking.
Google thing.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Send me all of Google.
Yeah, I just Googled Native American Labyrinth, Massachusetts.
Wow.
And I'm just curious what they look like. Yeah, this is more stones, which would be hard to mow. Would definitely be harder to mow. I can just show you quickly. You want to see it quickly?
Yeah.
All right. Let me get back to Zoom. Share screen. I'm stealing it from you. Oh, request has been
Is
sent.
that area of the cemetery heavily grassed area?
Yeah,
at this
it's mostly
time? It
grass.
is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all grass, and DPW is definitely going to want to be able to take a mower in there and Bob, you need to give me permission.
To do what?
Well, you need to stop sharing. It's not letting me share.
Oh, sorry.
Usually you can just wrestle control back, but it's not letting me do that. There we go. Thank you. So here's Rita's. Let me get you guys off the screen. Here's Rita's. So that one looks like this is the one in Holliston.
Oh, I'm
No.
getting the matrix, it looks like.
Yeah, it's very basic.
I didn't get that.
No. We're
Can
looking
you
at
imagine,
really,
can you imagine mowing that?
Well, we're not getting
No,
it.
we've got a train schedule here.
Yeah, we've got somewhere
Vienna,
in Vienna House.
Lodz,
Oh, gee.
Auschwitz, Heidelberg. Oh, I love Heidelberg. Let's go.
Oops.
Exactly.
All right. I must have shared the Sorry. Destroying all my evidence here. Go away, go
Oh,
away.
now we got some cookies and pastries. Nice.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you got all my deep dark secrets here. Let me try this.
Taking a tour of Leslie's computer.
Screen 1. Is that screen 2 here? I'll just do that window. There we go. Okay. Is that better?
not yet.
Nothing's up yet. There it is.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
So can you imagine mowing that?
No.
But here we go. Okay, so
Oh.
this is drone for so this,
Okay, interesting.
but that has no grass. I mean,
Yeah.
so you'd have to have something that would prevent grass from growing in it. Indigenous land occupancy.
Interesting.
Oh, here's one inside. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's
Oh, here's the chart. There's your
That's
charter
Chartres.
labyrinth. There you go. Yeah.
so I got to walk that at sunset by candlelight
Oh, wow.
and
Imagine.
barefooted, and it was just an amazing. They recently whitewashed the interior of this
Wow.
12th century church, so it doesn't look
Wow.
quite the same.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's Rita's Labyrinth in Holliston, and then we've got Chatham Labyrinth. Let's see, Chase. So this one's all brick in Chatham,
Interesting. Huh. Interesting.
which
And
is
that's
not
based
kind of
on
I mean, it's low
Chartres.
maintenance certainly, but I don't know, it doesn't feel the same to me.
Big
And you can
bucks.
cheat too easily.
Yeah, I think, well, obviously, anything we do has to be low maintenance.
Right, right.
And one of this could be a CPC project next year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No,
Because
that's what I was hoping that.
it would fall under either open space or historical,
Or both.
or both, right?
Yeah.
Brian Smith is joining us.
Anyway, all right, I'll stop sharing. But yeah, there's some interesting ideas. So
Well,
I'll try to get in touch with Diane. So yeah, I found it's Diane Smith. I found her LinkedIn. She works for Trillium Tree and Landscape, and she was great with the town common. She didn't end up doing the work, but she did all the I mean, there were multiple presentations. She did this for months and months. This would be a much smaller ask than Town Common was. But she was great. And I don't think she charged a penny for it. She lives in town, and
All right.
so
Well, let's move on. I think what I see is some really good ideas, and I'm suggesting maybe a subcommittee of Leslie and Tom, if you don't mind.
Volunteering.
You've done all the work, and you know what you're doing.
yeah, but if other people are interested in the design, I'd certainly
Yeah.
want.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, we can carry this discussion on next meeting.
Okay, sounds great.
We'll add this. And so at this point, I don't know if anyone has any other thoughts about what Scott was saying. Do we want to just stick with the simple plaque that we had? That would be my recommendation.
I would
Because we already
agree.
have enough signs.
Yeah, it makes
And,
sense.
that would leave us, $1,100, which he could keep open, and we could put it towards something else.
I'm trying to understand that. So it was a plaque that would get mounted on the post
Yes,
itself, on a vertical face of the post.
yes.
I wonder if people are going to be able to see it because they have to bend down to see if it's that small. 7x7 is tiny.
Mm,
Are they going to have
Well,
to crouch down to read it, or is it possible to put it
It would
Like
be
more of
on the big post.
right? But could it be on the? I'm wondering if even like an angled, sort of like a 45-degree angle base, and then so that the plaque itself is sort of on the top and you can actually read it. I just am worried that if we slap it on the front, no one's going to be able to see it. Just a thought.
Yeah. Either that or go back to the more expensive sign, but that's going to require probably more money and, the design. So I'm of the mind that we should just go ahead with the plaque as we had planned, with the wording that we had already submitted. Is this something we need to vote on or just,
Yeah, I think we should probably.
okay? So, I guess, is there a motion to stay with the original plan of the $400 plaque that's already budgeted?
I'm hesitant just because I'm concerned that we're gonna spend $400 on something that people aren't gonna be able to see. I
Mhm.
wonder if there is a solution to sort of mount it on the top, but if nobody else thinks that's an issue, then I'll vote for it, so.
I mean, could we get a mock-up of what that might look like on the post?
Well, I,
How tall is that post?
Is it 4 feet? No, 36 inches, is it?
gotta go back, wait a second.
The smaller ones are 2 feet, right? There's 2 feet stick out, so I think this one's maybe 3 feet, I don't know.
Let me go back to my notes from the last meeting.
I mean, you said the sign is very small, right?
I mean, 7 by 7 is pretty tiny.
Yeah. And what is it denoting on it?
Well, it was wording that we had already
Voted on.
discussed, but let me, I'm trying to find it. Wait. Okay, so it's a 6 by 6 inch sign. No, I'm sorry, it's 6 by 6 inch post. And the plaque says ground penetrating radar study revealed 116 probable grave sites west of these posts. And for some reason, I don't have the size of the post.
The sign.
The sign of
sign
the,
is 6 by, wait,
I'm sorry, I don't have the plaque size. I don't know why I don't, wait a second.
because it might be good to just see a mock-up of that.
May I show my screen quickly just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, just to see?
Sure.
Not trying to be difficult, just
No, I think it makes sense. I don't think I would have thought about that.
so something like this where it mounts on top of the post, but it's at an angle, so then you can see a bigger sign on top of the post. So that's kind of what I had in mind, was something on the top that's kind of angled as opposed to being on the face, and then you could get away with a bigger sign too.
Mm,
Yeah, you don't want to put a sign that's flat on the top of the post because the sun and the elements will destroy it over time. At least this would drain.
yeah,
Right. Well, I think what Bob was talking about was putting it on the vertical face,
Ah,
like the face instead of the top, but then you have to crouch down to see it. You're right. If we're on the top,
Right.
you could read it, but you might not see it there either. If it's on the
Right.
top, you might not even know it's there. Plus your concerns about, so this would make it obvious to me, this, I don't know, that's what I had in mind.
that
Something
makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah, I don't want to have to bring my grandchildren to read a sign. Tell me what this said, will you please?
Okay, let me, we'll have to table this till the next meeting. I'm gonna go take a look at it again. I'll get some more details about the size of the plaque. And I'll talk to Scott and see what options we have. We won't do anything till next, meeting. It's, it's winter time. That's really the last part of the project anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get some more details from Scott and we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for the input on that. Leslie, the next on the agenda, Howard and Brigham Street warped signs. I assume nothing has happened yet.
No, well, so I saw, Andy's on the CPC, so I see him regularly now. And after the last meeting, he said they're going to be in by Christmas. So he's doing some other projects around town too. What he wanted to know was, do we want those signs that are up? Or
The
otherwise
old ones?
they'll just dispose of them. Yeah.
Well,
I hate to see them thrown away, but I'm not taking them to store in my house. So I don't know.
well, one thing we could do is we could give them to the Historical Society.
Oh,
They have, they have the archives and they have the museum.
Yeah,
So they may want it. That's the only
Okay.
place I can think of to store it. We've recently, the town hall, the clerk's office has gone through some old historical files. And they were files from the Historic District Commission, Historical Commission, and Historical Society. We went through those files and we donated them to the archives. Because
yeah.
we don't have any room anymore, town hall, so.
So
at
do you
least
want
now we
to,
have one spot where we can have access to them.
ask Mike Duchesneau then, or what do you want to?
Yeah, I'll mention it to Norm. I'm seeing him tomorrow, and then
Oh, right, Nora. Okay, that'd be great. Yeah,
so
because
let's,
otherwise they'll.
yeah, let's we don't have to make a decision right away.
No, well, I think they're going to take them down. Maybe copy Scott or something. Because I guess it would be Andy. Once they pull them out, he's either going to save them or he's going to dump them, I think.
I think we should save them. I mean, they have disappeared before, so.
Yeah, let's
good
good
point.
point. Good point. Oh yeah,
Fair.
tell them we'll save them, and we'll find a place for them.
Okay, all right. I will do that then.
Okay, want to move along, committee representation, CPC. I think we've discussed some CPC projects tonight. Leslie, you have anything?
Yeah, there was a new one that was introduced, not historic based, but there was a new one that was introduced at the last meeting, which was for softball fields at the new fields at the, actually baseball and softball, new fields at Melican.
Milliken, okay.
So that was discussed, and we did ask them to consider phasing it. So they'll come back, see whether it can be phased in some way. But that was a new one that popped up. It seemed like there will be a lot of, I think, support for that as well.
What was the project that they discussed at the select board meeting this week?
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
I can't remember now. It's on the agenda, but I know they discussed one of the projects. I think it might have been the Milliken.
Probably Blake Street, I would guess.
I think that was discussed earlier.
Oh, I don't know. I can check.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
discussed.
moving on, I
I
can
think this
check
was
the
the new
agenda if
project.
you want.
Yeah. I think it was basically what we had done, just whether they should write a letter of support or not.
I will.
Okay, anything else on CPC?
No, that was it. Just we're meeting monthly, so the
Really?
next meeting is
Really?
early January. We pushed it out because usually it's the first Thursday of the month, so that would be New Year's Day. So we pushed it to the 8th, so it's the second Thursday of January.
All right, moving on, master plan, Millie?
We have not had a meeting since our last historic district committee meeting. We're meeting now every 2 months. So, but we are meeting this week, tomorrow night. I'm sure it's gonna be more Blake Street and maybe some housing, I think, too.
Okay, for the Northborough Revolution 250, I just want to, we agreed that I would be discussing budgets as we go along. So we haven't spent any money on the ARPA project. We're down to $772 of the $9,000 ARPA budget. So that's still pending. We did we did have Article 41 of the last town meeting, which authorized $15,000 for festivities going on next year, 2026. And we spent $1,500 for a deposit for a colonial concert that we're going to have on May 1st. It's a $3,000 concert, so you'll be hearing more about that. I was waiting to have a second Knox Trail meeting for the festivities that we'll have in Worcester on January 31st. Meeting hasn't been scheduled yet.
What's the Knox Trail?
Well, Colonel Knox and his noble train of artillery passed from Ticonderoga to Dorchester Heights in 1775, and they passed through Northborough in January of 1776. So, and there's a big commemoration. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but they already marched from Ticonderoga. They had everyone with their cannons, and they have replica cannons and sleds and oxen, and they march down through New York State, and they'll be heading around through, and there'll be various celebrations throughout Massachusetts. And the Worcester hub, which includes the towns of the Knox Trail in the Worcester area, which would include Northborough, Northborough, Shrewsbury, Brookfield, Spencer, Leominster, I believe. So we'll all be celebrating there. I think the select board or some of the select board will be there. Some of the committee members, and there'll be a plaque presented to Northborough and a few speeches. So I'll keep you posted on that. That's scheduled for January 31st. I have no more details because we're supposed to have a second planning meeting and it hasn't been called yet.
The only reason I ask is because we just had an applicant before us in the planning board that's naming their subdivision road Knox Trail.
Really?
And I was like, wait a minute, what's happening? Yeah.
In Northborough?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Gonna be right off Green Street.
Great. Well, that's definitely appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're
that's
gonna
all I
have
have
cannons
for-
at the entrance, right?
Yeah.
We could talk to them about it.
Well, we actually had hopes to get some of the Ticonderoga cannon, replica
yeah.
cannons and sleds to come through Northborough sometime in January. It all depends on their availability, so we're working on that.
So I checked the select board meeting. It was the ball field.
It was, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I couldn't remember. All right, Tom, anything on the fire station building committee?
Well, the masonry continues. They've got the training tower, elevator, stair. They're started the exterior walls, and they're almost done with the mock-up of the exterior building systems. And I believe the steel is going to begin to arrive next week. So you'll start seeing the outer profile go up.
Good.
It's exciting.
Thank you. Anything else on that? Amanda, anything to report on the library?
Nothing new for the library.
Okay. Okay, for new business, White Cliffs purchase agreement and preservation restriction. I have heard nothing new on that. The only thing that I've heard from the select board meeting was that Stephanie was mentioning that there was some cleanup that was being done on White Cliffs and that they needed more time. So they were discussing, they were going into a closed session to discuss the possibility of having some sort of a lease to purchase agreement, which would give Elegant Banquet a little more time on the preliminary cleanup before the actual purchase. So that's all I know about that. And I have not heard anything new from the Historical Society as to whether they were going to be holding the preservation restriction and who is going to be doing the preservation restriction. I guess they were still waiting to hear from Historic New England to see if they were going to do the project or not. So I just haven't heard it. Has anyone heard anything new on White Cliffs?
I have not.
Have
So
not
we
either.
haven't been asked to do anything more on the preservation restriction. We're obviously available when they need our support.
Yeah, there's obviously not going to be a special town meeting at this point, given how close we are to regular town meeting, so.
Right.
Yeah, probably not. Okay, Millie, if you don't mind, I'd like to table the master plan goals,
Got it.
okay? And the
Yep.
same thing with the beehive stone wall. I actually did another tour and took some more pictures of the other beehives. That's not an immediate need. It's certainly something we want to preserve. I'm not sure about the next step. We talked about possibly seeing if we can get that onto Macris.
Mm-hmm.
But in any event, I could probably talk to the building department to make sure that it gets placed under a demolition hold.
That would be great.
And,
yeah.
you know, just, I'm not sure. Have to look at the bylaws. I'm not sure that's going to be possible, but I can talk to Robert about that.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that they're pretty unique to this town at this point, as far as I can tell. I'm actually reading a whole book on Stonewall, so fun reading. But I think they are pretty unique, and I'd like to see them at least acknowledged as an interesting asset.
Yeah, I think we need to we'll continue that discussion to see how it's, we did talk about expanding Macris,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Yeah.
might be one of the things to do on that.
Okay.
Okay, and then the only other thing, just briefly, I had a demolition request for 1 Jenkins Drive. I was kind of curious about that because it was built in 2003, something like that. So it's obviously not a historic building. It was a nice house, but then I found out that it was actually damaged
Fire.
quite a lot in a fire, and it was ordered to be demolished anyway. So it wasn't something that the bylaws required us to vote on,
Mm-hmm.
or demolition delay, because it wasn't a historic building by definition, or a significant historic building. So therefore, I just basically made a comment to the building department that there was nothing for us to request a demolition delay about, according to bylaws. Okay, is there any other issues before the commission?
Nothing as an issue, but can I make a request for the next meeting that I kind of give a review of the grants and all that program I went to, so that people
Yes.
can start thinking about maybe there are some projects that are in our matrix that we can begin to evaluate and maybe get some funding for them.
Okay, I will add that review of grant opportunities.
Yeah, yeah,
That's great. Thank you, Millie.
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Billy. Okay, if I hear no other business before our commission, and I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Christmas.
Bob, the next meeting,
Yes,
I'm not going to be able to be there, so you're going to have to find somebody to scribble
okay,
if it's the 21st.
January 31st, right? Okay, any volunteers to this point, or I can ask for volunteers later?
To do the minutes
Take minutes, yeah,
for next meeting?
yes,
Yeah, I can do that.
thank you, Billy. Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
So
Second.
seconded.
I'll second the second.
okay, Leslie,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Amanda,
Yes.
Brian Swanson,
Yes.
Millie,
Yes.
Brian Smith,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So we are adjourned. Thank you all very much. Have a
Merry
happy
Christmas,
holidays,
Happy New
everyone.
Year.
Thank you.
Happy
You
Hanukkah.
too.
Thank
Happy
you. Have a
holidays,
great
guys.
holiday, everyone.
See you next
Bye.
year.
Thank you too. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Good night.